let's see now the different phases for recording a video. And we have divided these phases in 3 phases. So the pre-production, production, and post-production. So the pre-production is the planning on how I'm going to record a video. The production is the time we spend in front of the camera or recording the video, the audio, the images, whatever we want to record. And the post-production is the editing, the final editing of the video before uploading it to YouTube or to another video hosting platform. So in the pre-production, we normally have a meeting with the teachers and we discuss what type of video of the ones that we have seen here better suits to the concepts they wish to explain. If the video needs to be recorded inside the recording studio, or if the video needs to be recorded outside, we also define this here. And the teacher is responsible for getting the accompanying materials, the images, PowerPoint presentations, whatever is going to be used to accompany the video. We will see later some things related to copyright issues, but it's important to take into account that we cannot use everything that is in the internet to create these videos. So this is it's a hard recommendation for the teachers. Something that is also very important in this phase is the creation of the script. In the script, we take these ideas we have in our heads, and these ideas that when we go to the classroom, we normally explain, we talk about them, and we try to put them on paper or on a document, a digital document. This is very helpful when we go to the studio, especially if we're going to use, for instance, a teleprompter. So in our studios, there is a teleprompter. Some teachers prefer to use it, some teachers prefer not. It gives you some confidence. For instance, you don't need to repeat things, you made less mistakes. But for that, first you need to put in a script whatever you are going to use to say in the video. We normally have these 2 columns in the script, so the part that refers to the audio, so what the teacher is going to say, and there can be another part with the video, so what kind of shots we are going to have for each part, or how are we going to record each part. Well, some ideas that were already on the table, but each video should have 1 or 2 concepts at most, so you can have an introduction, present the concept, the definition, maybe 1, 2 examples, and a summary, and that's a 5-minute video, 4-minute video. And that's all. If you want to explain a different concept, then do another video. And use an activity between both videos to link both videos so that the students can reflect about what was said in the video. Also, it's important to try to create a storyline throughout the videos. If you are recording a learning sequence, well, try to link the things that you are saying in the videos, or try to have same style when you are recording. And it's important also to write the script, to read it, to correct the mistakes, and also to rehearse what you are going to say and how you are going to say it. Something that is important to consider, the audio is more important than the image. We're used to listening to high quality audio, and we do not like when we have noisy audio. And we're going to see this through one video, one example. And here the recommendation is not to use the microphone that comes with your laptop. Use a professional microphone, which is not very expensive, or try to use a recorder or something that can help you have a clear audio. So let's see.
Hello and welcome to Video Production 101, a series that scratches the surface on all aspects of video production. In this episode, I'll be covering the importance of audio, why you should always have a listen when recording audio, and what types of microphones will work best for you. Audio is arguably on par with video as the most important element when it comes to a production. Not many people notice good quality sound when they hear it. But when it comes to poor quality sound, people do notice and will likely be more annoyed by that than by the poor quality in the videography. So to avoid that issue, for starters, grab a pair of headphones and monitor that audio that's being recorded. The mic picks up your talent's voice, but it's also picking up all the other sounds in the area, even if it's the slightest noise in the background. Some of the things that you should be aware of are the hum that fans and vents give off, spaces with crowded people, or even shooting outside on a windy day. Other ways to avoid poor audio are to look into external microphones that are better qualified to record good audio. Lavalier mics, also known as a lapel, are great for recording voice as they are small and can be attached to the speaker's clothes without being too intrusive in the shot. The price of these vary, as you can get a wired lavalier mic for as low as $50 or get a wireless lavalier kit for up to $500. Shotgun mics are another good option for recording your audio, as they are highly directional microphones that can be mounted directly to your camera. This means the microphone picks up the sound source directly in front of it while dampening the sounds coming in from both sides and behind it. These types of microphones too vary in price, ranging from as low as $50 for a consumer level shotgun mic or up to $300 for a professional shotgun mic. Also, any portable digital recorders like a Zoom, a Tascam, or even a mobile device will certainly do the trick in recording good audio. Being separate from the camera, these types of microphones have the ability to be placed anywhere close to the sound, yet require more effort to sync up with the video during post-production. Again, these prices vary from as low as $100 up to $300, or in the case of using your own mobile device, it's free. Audio is crucial when it comes to video. If you want your message to be heard, you gotta make sure you record it right.
So this is the idea when we are recording, for instance, in our own office, because we are recording a screenshot of a programming course or whatever. We use a portable audio recorder, or we use a microphone that can be plugged to our laptop to get quality audio. Okay. Next thing is when we are in the studio, we need to be aware of several things. So the first thing is the light. We need a good light. And that also applies when we are at our office recording videos. If we are using green screen, we will see later on what kind of clothes we can wear and what we shouldn't wear. In the studio, for instance, we have a teleprompter like the one on the bottom right. So it's more, the teacher is more efficient when it's in the studio because, as I said, you make less mistakes. You may lose a little of spontaneity, so it may sound less natural, but you can practice. And we also recommend all the teachers to practice a few times when in front of the teleprompter. And there is also another possibility, which is called the interrotron. So it's the idea that there's a camera recording another person, and you see that person in the camera. So that person can be in another room or can be in another space. So at least you have some visual feedback. So one of the things when we are in the studios, for teachers, when we are talking to an audience, we look to different places. We look at different places. When you are looking to the camera, you need to have your eyes just in front of the camera, and you don't need to move the eyes, because otherwise, you feel, or the student feels that you are thinking, or that you lost the sight with the student. So this is a possibility. So we are not using it, but it's there in case you may need to use it. And just an example on how the light is important. We're going to see, to watch another video.
Hi, my name is Andrew with Joico Multimedia, and I want to talk you through lighting. So there's two kinds of lighting. There's subjective and there's objective lighting. In other words, there's good and bad. Which sounds weird, but good lighting is subjective because there's so many different ways to get your shot and achieve what you are looking for. Bad lighting is objective because when you look at it, you know it's bad. It makes you cringe inside. So obviously you want good lighting. I'm going to walk you through some examples of bad lighting and show you what's wrong with them and why you want to avoid them. This is scenario number one, office fluorescent lighting. This is bad because it screams amateur. It is very unprofessional. Scenario number 2 is backlighting. This is when the light is behind the subject pointed at the camera. The problem is that the subject is too dark. There's not enough detail in the face or the front of the subject. This happens when you put a subject in front of a window and without compensating. Scenario number 3 is underexposure. This is when the lights are set up and even maybe set up correctly. However, the camera settings are not set up correctly and therefore the subject is too dark. Scenario number 4 is overexposure. This is when your lights are set up, and again, they may be set up correctly, however, your camera settings have overcompensated, and I am too bright now. The subject is too bright, there's no detail, you can't color correct an image that is overexposed. Scenario number 5 is psychologically inappropriate lighting. This is when you have your lights set up intentionally the way you have them. However, it does not achieve the desired mood. So this lighting would be horrible for a company training video. Lighting is so important in video production. You cannot underestimate the importance of light. Without light, there is no image at all.
So these are some examples of bad lighting. I hope you don't record educational contents as in a horror movie, like the last one. No? Okay, so even if you're recording in your own office, take care of light. Okay, don't have half of your face with light and the other side in the dark. Some additional tips on the recording. So, for instance, we should avoid temporary references. When we record a video, we don't care if yesterday was Monday or tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. The person that is going to be the video maybe is watching it on a Saturday, so avoid that. And the same for the seasons, the months, even the years. And that happens even with cross references. So don't refer to the previous video, because maybe in the post-production phase you decide that there is no one single video before, but 2 videos. So try to avoid all these cross references to videos, to sections in the course. Try to have every video as an independent component in your course. Also, beware of local cultural references. You are teaching to the world, don't forget that. So don't use many local terms or slang, or don't you refer to the, let's say, the holidays here in Malaysia, because there will be someone in other part of the world that will have holidays in some other dates, and he or she may not know what you mean. Also, well, this is another good practice. There's no need to record the videos in the final order. So try to advance, even if you're stuck in one video, you don't know how to explain this concept. Okay, don't worry, move forward, try to record the next video, and you will come back to do this part. Well, the editing phase, what we do is combining the different shots that we're taking with the camera, mixing the sound, adding all the labels, animations, exporting the final video in the right format, uploading it to YouTube, and in our case, we upload it to another repository as a backup. And finally, we upload the URL of the video in YouTube to OpenEdX or the platform you are going to use. This process is normally iterative and involves a technician and also the teacher who reviews the final editing and approves the video for submission to YouTube. Sometimes this process is a little bit painful, I have to say. Carlos mentioned before that it's good to have a synchronization with the words and the images. This is one of the 10 best practices that we saw. But when a technician is trying to put all the pieces together, maybe he or she is not aware of that, and there is some kind of mismatch in the synchronization between the image and the speech. No? So you need to review the video and give indications for the final version to do the final version. A few more things. Well, editing. There are a lot of programs, and it depends on the technicians. For example, in our case, as a self-production videos, we have used Camtasia. as this is a easy tool and let's say user-friendly tool for combining the audio, adding some animations, and also adding the video shot. And, we normally use it, but the professionals use other tools. So Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects are some of these tools. So it depends on your knowledge on these tools. It depends on the licenses that you may buy. There are some alternatives that are open source for video recording and for editing. This is a field you can explore with your university or in your free time. Well, don't forget about the subtitles, the closed captions, for accessibility purposes. So there might be people who cannot hear with hearing impairments, or even as you are teaching to the world, there might be people who does not speak your language as a native speaker or as a fluent speaker. So it's good to have the text also to check what the teacher has said, and also because of the different accents. Okay, we speak English, but we speak English with different accents. So maybe I pronounce a word in a different way as you do. So this is good to have the text as a reference. So these are the three main phases. I don't know if there are any questions so far. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue talking about speaking in front of the camera. Yeah, please.
I have a question regarding the size of the video.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you have a standard size. I know the video user can like enlarge full screen and resize, but do you have like the standard size of the video appear on the screen? Or?
So we normally have two versions of the video, the high resolution version and the low resolution version. In case the bandwidth of the users is not very good, they can see the video, they can watch the video in the low resolution version. No? So this is an approach. I think YouTube now, if you're watching the video from a mobile device, will show you a low resolution version instead of the high resolution version. It does this automatically. And the size, the ones that are high resolution, so 1,000 something by 1,000 something. No? So that's, yeah.
Okay, can I know the software for your subtitle closed captions?
The what, sorry?
The software that you use.
Software. Yeah, we're using a solution that was developed by a Spanish university. It's the Polytechnic University of Valencia, which is called Translectures, which allows you to create the captions automatically from English and Spanish, and it does a good job. Of course, there is some minor editing, such as acronyms, punctuation symbols, and some other things, but it works well. Alternatively, YouTube has a built-in editor which tries to create the closed captions automatically, and there are some other softwares that could be explored also as well. Okay, so speaking in front of the camera. When teachers have to go to the studio for the first time, they are in a non very comfortable environment, to say. We normally have a course every year, which is taught by actors on how to behave and how to act in front of the camera, because this is not the natural environment. We feel weird there, to say. Yeah. Can you press?
Just wonder how long is the course? With the actors?
It's about 20 hours. 20 hours, yeah, 20 hours. 20 hours with groups of 20 to 30 teachers, more or less. So you learn everything from how to breathe, your gestures, your position in front of the camera. You learn your tics you may have, or I don't know. Well, these things, no? And there are some interactive activities. So all the teachers go to the studio. They always watch the video that was recorded, criticize some things or give some feedback to improve the video, and this is very helpful. Yes, it's done by actors, yes, yes. So professional actors. Professional actors. They are the ones that best know how to behave in front of the camera. We don't. Okay. Okay, so let's say that we are going from the theater to the cinema when recording these videos. We are here in a large space, which is this room or a classroom, but we need to go to a studio, which is a small space. We cannot move much. Here I can move. I did that at the beginning, so I walked around the aisle. But in the studio you have, let's say, a mark on the floor, and you cannot move because otherwise you will not be in the shot. Here I'm talking to a wide audience from left to right, but there I need to be focused on the camera in front of me. So this is a different feeling. And here I have some feedback, so I can see some of them are, some people are with a mobile phone, some of them are asleep on the back. Well, I have some feedback, no? And in the studio I don't. But as I said, well, we have some data after running the course. No? We can use that data to improve the video as a feedback. And here I have, let's say, a relatively large time to explain these concepts, and there I need to focus in this short video. So there are many things that change. We're going from the theater to the cinema, and we need to take this into account. So some first recommendations: save words. So if we are recording a 5-minute video, save words. Don't say good morning, goodbye, my name is. No, use a label. That's all. No? That's a way of saving words. The shot is usually what is called a waist up. So it's a most typical shot, but it can be combined with other shots. And of course, well, try to establish this personal relationship with your learner, which is difficult at the beginning, but when you get used to the camera, it becomes easier. So you're talking to a learner, and the learner is on the other side, somewhere in the future, listening to you. Well, some things that we should do when we also come here to talk, warm up your voice. That's very important. So your voice needs to sound clear. Bring a bottle of water, drink a little bit, sip some water, and then you start talking. Okay? Use your breathing correctly. Try to speak slow, or at least slower than you usually speak. The students, if they wish to listen to you in a faster pace, they have options in YouTube to multiply by 2 or multiply by 1.5 the speed. So try to speak slow for the average student. Of course, syllabicate, so pronounce all the syllables correctly so they can understand you better. Use strategic pauses, and of course use gestures when needed. No? This is some recommendations about your voice. About your clothing. So if you go to the studio to record with a chroma, don't wear a green T-shirt or a green shirt. No? It's obvious, no? Obvious. Unless you want to be the invisible man in the final cut. But it's also good not to wear very thin stripes, because in a shirt they are noisy, or they can be noisy in the final cut as well. And be aware what is going to be the background in the video. If there is going to be a white background in the video, don't wear a white shirt or a white T-shirt. And the same, if there is going to be a black background, don't wear a black shirt or a black T-shirt. And well, try to be as comfortable as you can. So if you wear a tie, that's not the most comfortable clothing to wear. No? So try to be a little bit comfortable. Well, about your body energy, try to relax. Try to also warm up your facial muscles when you go to the studio. Of course, try to smile. At the beginning, it's a tense moment to be there. Try to smile, to sound friendly. So if you're frowning, it involves that you're worried, that you're impatient, and don't use gestures too much. I mean, use them properly, but not too much, like you're talking without knowing what you're saying. No? Well, of course, try to use your emotional energy, try to have visual contact always with the camera, and of course believing what you're explaining, believing what you're saying to the students. Some characteristics of self-confidence, not swinging. So if you are in the mark in the floor, don't go like this, no? Like swinging, no? Because that's very bad for the final cut. Well, try to be spontaneous at some point. Try to add some jokes. This is your personal brand in the videos. And something that happens to us when teachers go to the studio is that they don't like the video. They don't like how they look like in the video. So they try to be perfect, and they always complain, "No, I don't like this too much." So it's good to have a colleague with the teacher to say, "Okay, but it's fine, it's perfect. No need for additional recording." Because at the beginning we push ourselves too much. So try to be comfortable and try to be natural with the result. Okay, at the beginning it's a little bit difficult, but you will come to this. So yeah, we have like several personalities. No, the one we're showing. That some teachers do not feel comfortable in front of the camera. The one that we actually has. So we have taught many classes, so we are not afraid of recording a video now. And the one that we believe we have, actually we are good at our job. We're doing it good, so don't be afraid of that. And well, some final ideas. So lose your fear, expose yourself to others, to some colleagues that can give you feedback. That's also very important. Know your strengths and weaknesses and try to improve your weaknesses and try to empower your strengths. Try always to improve and practice. We know we are very busy. We don't have much time. Sometimes we need to do things very, very fast, but try to practice as much as you can. Okay? So this is what I wanted to say about speaking in front of the camera from our perspective. I mean, we are not actors. We are teachers. We are not technicians. So we know some things we have experimented before. And we're trying to give you some of these best practices. We have learned some of them empirically. Okay? So any questions so far? No? Yeah, please, Alvin.
In the video recording studio, how many person at minimum do you usually involve?
So we normally have one person who is the cameraman, and he's in charge of a camera, and we have a microphone on top, and this is fixed, so there's no need to, you configure this at the beginning, so there's no need for another person to hold the mic. And I think that's all, no? So just one person, and then there are some people editing videos in a parallel room.
We often use ¿cómo se llama? El prompter, video prompter.
Prompter, yeah.
And and there's a pedal with which the speaker can advance faster or slower the prompter. But some people like me cannot really concentrate on what I'm saying, and it's the time driving, if you wish, no? So I normally have a second person who does this for me, who listens to me and then goes faster or slower if needed. But of course, this is a luxury, so not needed.
Yeah. So in my case, I normally use the pedal, but then at the end your leg hurts because you have this uncomfortable position in your leg, no? Yeah.
Carlos, one question. Do you have experience with even lower bandwidth video than the low bandwidth videos that you produce? Is there some
I mean, we have a low resolution version of the videos. As I said, the important thing is the audio. The audio needs to be quality audio. Then the image, you could try to compress it. If you don't use too many images, pictures, then it would be easier to compress it because you only will have you with low resolution, some words or whatever are supporting your speech. I think that's what we have.
And platform-wise, is there a difference between YouTube or Vimeo or something like that with that functionality?
I understand that YouTube goes down if the network is bad. So
It's an automatic. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So any other thing? No. So let's go to a very delicate issue, which are copyright issues. The first thing is that when we're in the classroom, okay, we take a picture from the internet, we use it, that's fine, only few of our students are going to see it. But when we are opening or teaching to the world, then we cannot use everything that is on the internet. So not everything on the internet is free to use or is free from copyright. Actually, most of the videos, most of the images are protected. So we cannot use them by default. We're going to see 3 types of content: the one with copyright, the one with open licenses, and the ones with or in the public domain. So the content with copyright are all these materials with exploitation rights, so there is a right holder for them. And in principle, all rights are reserved and cannot be reused without permission. So one strategy can be to contact the author and ask for permission. Sometimes this is difficult. It's very difficult. For example, we had a MOOC on paintings, and some museums allow the use of all the paintings that are in the collections, the images of the paintings that are in the collection in any context. But some other museums do not allow this use. So for example, the Prado Museum in Madrid, which is one of the most famous museums on paintings, does not allow the use of images. So we needed to have an agreement with the Prado Museum in order to use some of the pictures in this particular MOOC. Okay? So of course it depends on the context. We will see some solutions to this problem later on. The content with open licenses, as I said, there is a right holder also, but the permission to reuse is granted in advance. But the important thing is to respect the conditions of the license. One of the most common licenses are Creative Commons licenses. And there are several types that we will see also later. And the materials in public domain do not have any copyright because there was not any copyright ever, or because the copyright expired. So we can use them freely, no need to quote the author or the material. What happens if we don't have the information about which of these 3 licenses has a certain material? Well, we cannot use the material by default. This is what I said at the beginning. So we need to look for something else that serves for a purpose. In the case of some images, we can try to draw the images ourselves. For instance, a figure that was published in a journal. Well, we can try to draw the image. So the idea is not protected. What is protected is the actual image. But we can draw the same graph, or we can try to draw the same image, an equivalent one. Okay. So in the case of Creative Commons, you have a video there that explains this very well, but there are like 4 elements that can be included in a Creative Commons license. One is the by, which refers to that the image needs to be recognized when used. And C, which refers that the image can be used with non-commercial purposes only. And D, which means that we cannot create derivative works from that image or content. And SA, which means that we need to create, if we create a derivative content, it needs to be done under the same license. So SA comes from share alike. Well, you have these slides, but you will see here are the symbols. So on top, the red one means copyright, and in green and yellow colors are the Creative Commons licenses and the public domain at the bottom. So it goes from more restrictive to less restrictive. So as users of third-party materials, we need to be very aware of what kind of license these materials have, and cite the material accordingly, or not using this material. And as authors, because we are creating also videos, we are creating also MOOCs, we can decide which license applies to our MOOCs. For instance, if you talk about YouTube, there are two main licenses in YouTube, which are the YouTube standard license, which is a copyright license, and the Creative Commons license, which belongs to this second group of open licenses. So if a video in YouTube has this Creative Commons license, then it means that we can reuse it in our MOOC. If not, there are alternatives. So for instance, we can put the link to the video in the MOOC, or we can ask the students to look for the video. They will figure out how. Okay? Well, this is a table for additional information. You have the slides so you can check the compatibility between a material that we're going to reuse and a MOOC, for instance, that we're going to create. So is it possible to use this material for this MOOC with this license? You have this table to check that. So whatever we do, what we try to do in our MOOCs, first of all, if we are creating a course with some teachers and they bring some images with them, we can use this reverse functionality, reverse internet search for images or for texts, and see if they come from copyright sources or not. If this material has a Creative Commons license, then we annotate the author, title, source, and type of license. And if not, well, we can clean the material, redoing the graphics, the images, rewriting the text if it comes from a page, a book page, replacing the image or whatever with equivalent open content, or, as I said, asking for permission. This is, legally, this is a little bit complex. So in some countries, there is what is called the right to quote. So it says that it is permitted to use a segment of a material for educational purposes, okay? But this is in some countries, and we're offering a MOOC for the world. So this is legally really, really complex. And the material cannot be the center of the video we are creating, for instance. No, it could be something that is maybe in some corner. We refer to that in a specific moment because it's necessary for this course. But as I said, this exists, but it's complex, okay? So try to guess in your case, in the case of Malaysia, if this applies and how this affects to the materials you are creating. And as I said, well, some solutions, we can add the link to copyrighted material in our MOOC, or we can ask the students to look for the materials if needed. If we ask students to look for the materials, try to include that as an optional activity in the course, not as a mandatory activity. Okay? We did that, for instance, in a MOOC on documentaries. So we had the rights to use some documentaries inside of the course. Again, during the time of the course was running. But for additional documentaries, we asked the learners to look for them. They could go to a library, or they could find a way. We don't care to find this documentary, but this was an optional activity. Okay. So where to find open content? So these are some sources. We have OpenCourseware, and here's the OpenCourseware by UC3M, but there are many universities offering contents from the beginning of this century in OpenCourseware. So there you can find materials with open licenses. There is a Creative Commons searcher. You can also use Google Images, and there is an option to search with materials for materials that can be reused. This is another possibility. Pixabay is another repository of open images of different fields. We can use also Flickr with Creative Commons. So There are many sources. Just be aware of the license that applies to these contents and cite the author and source properly. So, yeah, we have here a group activity. We don't have much time, but I would like you to talk at least in, let's say, 3-4 minutes in groups, the ones that you're seated together, to try not 10, but at least 5 of the best practices that you have seen during this presentation about videos. Okay, so in, let's say, 5 minutes, groups of 4, 5, these 5 key ideas. And just one question on the back.
There is two mazhab or school of thought. If you want to, if you want to create a MOOC, so there are some original videos, and another one is curated videos, meaning that we can search the YouTube videos that is open Creative Commons, and then we compile together, and then this is our course. Is it possible to do that?
I mean, you can use or you can reuse videos that have these open licenses. You can integrate them in your course, cite them properly. We had 1 or 2 videos, maybe, or well, say you could have some videos, but the point is not only taking things that are there and creating your course with this material only. Be original. Try to make a difference with what is there. No.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, as I said, let's say discussing in groups. Let's say 4 or 5. Whoever is seated next to you. After this presentation, if you needed to say 5 key ideas, what these key ideas would be. Okay?
But then we cannot go to, we go later to on your side? Yeah. Okay. We're already told some of the presentations this morning, for the forums with Armin, they mentioned.
So, anyone wants to share these 5 tips, these 5 ideas?
You go.
Yes, please.
Okay, we have.
Oh, Mike.
Sorry, we have 6 here. The first one is prepare your script prior to the recording.
Perfect. Yes.
Make sure to practice in front of mirror, maybe.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second one is make sure the videos is not too long. If you have a long content, make sure you chunk into a few series.
Okay, yes, perfect.
The third one is check for the license of the content of your educational videos.
Absolutely.
Try to varieties your video content, like your person inside, just a pointer, or with animation and so on.
Okay.
Not to move a lot during the recording.
Definitely. Otherwise, you are out of the shot. Yeah.
And the last one is be natural, always smile.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. So, well, there is also a summary in the last slide, in case you reached the end of the slides, and most of them you mentioned them. No, the duration of the video. Try to record every video as a self-contained unit. Take care of the audio, very important, the audio quality. Script, definitely. Use your eyes. Your eyes are the best tool to communicate here, apart from your voice. Communicate with passion. The clothing, don't wear a green t-shirt or shirt to the studio. Gestures, humor, practice and repeat, and copyright licenses. So this is all I'm telling you for today. Tomorrow we are going to continue with the part that we could not fit into today's schedule, which are activities and communication with the students. So we will start this part early in the morning, and then we will continue with the rest of the agenda with learning analytics with people from Open University of the Netherlands. So thank you very much.